Well, hello everyone. I'm Marion, the Inappropriate Artist, and I'm here joining you today from a friend's house. I am parked in the driveway, and Nugget is right now outside in the van, curled up, hopefully not getting into trouble. Um, her favorite pastime. So, just a little brief introduction here. For those of you who have not joined me before, I left 7 months ago in my van with the goal of painting all 50 states. I have no idea how long this is going to take me. So far, I have been able to paint Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, I think, New Hampshire. What else do I have here? I feel like that might be it. So for now, right? Because this is a journey, right? So I do have images that I've taken for other states like Delaware and New Jersey and Massachusetts. I just haven't gotten around to painting them yet. That's all. But so part of this is that I am going to be, well, my goal at the end of all of this is to put together a book. It'll be a coffee table type book, and it will, not sure exactly how it's going to be laid out yet. I'm kind of allowing this whole process to reveal itself to me as much as possible. I have a basic outline of what I'd like to accomplish. In the meantime, I'm letting the universe do the directing. So I thought it would be fun to show you my work. It's in succession here. So I have some pieces from March before I left, or February before I left. I have a piece, and then I have some that I did in April once I got to Maryland, and then progressively from there, I have more. So let me show you just some of, oh yeah, and Maryland. That's right, I painted Maryland too. Let me just turn this camera around and show you what I got. So to start, this is one of the oldest pieces that I have here. This is a little Jack in the Pulpit, and I painted this back in February. And it is on, I believe, Bristol. Yes, it's on Bristol. So, and it's one of the few pieces that I cut a mat for. These two pieces were done in Maryland while I was parked on the horse farm. These started as sky studies and turned into lovely little landscapes that I really thought were lovely and simple, and I was just really having a lot of fun with my skies. But yeah, these I did back in April. This little piece is the first one of the places that I parked. So I had just finally bit the bullet and got started. I did this also back in April. This is a little sunset from a spot where I parked in Florida in St. Augustine along the coast. It was definitely quite an interesting experience for me where I was parked there. A lot of interesting things happened, but I'm saving that stuff for the book. I will be putting stories with all of these paintings when I put them together into a book. This one is the Ocala National Park, or National Forest, excuse me, in Florida. This was a painting I started, so this one I did once I got to North Carolina. So I was parked at a retreat center in North Carolina where another artist who's a family friend lives, Lee Pantis. And while I was there, I was really inspired to really challenge myself. So this was the first painting that I did that really came out exactly as I planned it, and I was so pleased with it, and it gave me the confidence to continue to move forward in this direction. Then came this painting. This is the property that I was staying on in North Carolina, beautiful Chinese chestnut in the Appalachian Mountains. I really felt like with this, I found myself breaking a mold. You know, I had a basic way of going about doing things, and when I started painting this painting, I started changing my style a little bit and having a little bit more fun with some blending medium and creating just, you know, all of the different levels of greens that we have in our landscape. This also from the same property in North Carolina, a little grapevine fun. I saw this one day after the rain, and it just reminded me of flames. You know, I really loved that, and so I tried to capture that with these grapevines. This piece is called Leaving the Oconee. This was where I parked in Georgia. I believe my second night in the van, I was parked at a boat launch in the Oconee National Forest. And wow, what a cool spot. But this was what the view was on the way out of the forest. I had to stop and take a photograph of this barn so that I could paint it. I had such a blast painting this painting. I do believe I have a series of videos that are up on YouTube. They're not too far back if you want to check them. I released them a couple weeks ago. So there's a whole series. I believe there's 3 altogether of this painting. This one, the Lily Pond, was a piece of, this was at the Pond Retreat Center as well, although I didn't paint it until after I left. This one took me a long time. I spent a lot of time on this painting. Obviously, they're not that big, as you can see. I'll put my hand next to them. So this one probably, I want to say, took me somewhere between 20 and 25 hours of just slow work. I was nervous about doing these reflections, creating these different levels with the lily pads. But once I finished it, I was so excited about the result. I really love the way it came out, and definitely a breakthrough piece for me. Now we'll fast forward. I have sold a number of pieces. There are a few pieces that were in between all of these that got sold. If you're interested in seeing some of those pieces, I do mark them as sold on Instagram after they sell, so you can tell which ones those are. My Instagram is at theinappropriateartist in case you're interested. Now this painting is of Thompson Lake in Maine. I started this painting, I got halfway through it and I froze. I was petrified about doing this reflection, and I waited almost an entire month before I came back and did the reflection, but once I finished it, I was so pleased with how it came out. This is one of my favorite lakes, or is my favorite lake in Maine, Thompson Lake, and this is a lovely little cove where we used to stay when we were kids. Then came this little gem, right? And in between, I had gone to Moosehead Lake. All of the paintings I did at Moosehead Lake sold on Moosehead Lake, which was fabulous. This little painting is again Thompson Lake in Maine. But when I came back after being in Moosehead Lake, I discovered kind of a different way of doing water, and I started kind of applying it a little bit more. And this is the result of some of that work. And I really love the way the water came out in this, but I also really love my foreground grasses, and I was really pleased with the way my boulder came out. This little painting I call Convergence. This one is a little bit out of my imagination. I'd gone for a kayak with a friend on Thompson Lake and came back, and this kind of just came out of my memory of being in a kayak along, in these quiet little coves where water and estuary meet, and just absolutely beautiful transition between water and marsh grass. So while on Thompson Lake, I was introduced to a family who used to also go to the same place that my family did when we were kids. They purchased a property on the other side of the cove. I went and parked at their home and did a number of paintings of their property, and as a matter of fact, still working on a couple of commissions from them. This rock was just right in front of the van, and I really wanted to work on my boulders, so I had some fun on a rainy day just painting what was right outside my window. This little one is also of Thompson Lake. I was having fun with the mist, and the mist rising up off the lake and coming up over the top of this cove. Just that cloud seemed to hover right on top. It was the wildest thing. I really enjoyed painting this, and the water just really made me happy. A nice early morning shot, a little morning pink in the sky. One of my favorite places. This little painting started as it really is a spontaneous landscape. This is no place in particular. I did a wash that gave me this lovely background here and this wonderful distance. And then I sat with it for a couple of weeks until the rest of the image came to me. I look at, when I do something like that, sometimes I have to just sit and stare at it for a while until the rest of the painting reveals itself to me. And I just had a wonderful time with these seagrasses and water reflections. And it's just a peaceful little painting that I really like. After I left Maine, I went across to New Hampshire. And this was where I parked on the This is where I parked on the Androscoggin River. And it was not far from Pinkham Notch. This beautiful view of the White Mountains in the distance there. Not too far distance, as a matter of fact. And first little pops of fall as we were transitioning. I believe this was September. I think I'm writing it on the back now. Let's see. Yep, September. Excellent. And yeah, so this wonderful little painting I did not long. I did this one while I was sitting there in the spot. And then later, just a few weeks ago, I did this one of the same view, but it was the next morning when the mist was covering the mountains in the distance and you couldn't see anything, and that little almost island just popping out. I think it's just a inlet, behind there, but in the river. But the mist made it look like it was an island standing on its own. And after being parked in New Hampshire, I made my way over to my friends in Brandon, Vermont. And this is a beautiful example of Vermont's gorgeous pastures that go between the Green Mountains and the Adirondack Mountains in New York. So it's kind of in between the two. I absolutely love this. It made me very pleased to have accomplished this beautiful windswept meadow. This little one is of Rhode Island in Patuxent, where I spent a week. And I was so pleased to finally get some images of Rhode Island that made me happy and that I felt inspired to paint. And again, I'm having fun with my rocks, really enjoying that and enjoying different compositional qualities in my paintings. Now I know we're skipping a little bit because a number of pieces have sold, but here we are now on the eastern shore of Virginia. This painting I did while I was parked on the eastern shore on the Chesapeake Bay side up near Only, Virginia. Now this one I did more recently. It is of Point Judith in Rhode Island, and I did stop here. I stopped here on my way to Maine. So Patuxent I did on my way back from Maine, but this I did on my way to Maine. I took the photograph on my way to Maine, but I didn't bother painting it until recently. I was still working on my rocks and my seasides, and I'm really pleased with how all of this came out. And last, but certainly not least, is this beautiful, peaceful scene of looking out off of Virginia Beach, where I parked at that campsite. I have more pieces that I'd like to do of that particular spot, as well as most of these areas. But I really love my cloud work in this, and also how peaceful the ocean was that morning. It was just quiet morning on the ocean. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my little pass through my artwork and a little bit behind each of the paintings, and hopefully you also get to see the progress that I'm making as I'm traveling along and learning as I go, having fun experimenting with different processes, as well as you can see, changing my view on the world a little bit, viewing things different. When I first started doing this, I had no idea how much progress I would make and how fast it would happen. Just from really putting my mind to painting, not necessarily every day, but almost every day, I have worked really hard at improving my abilities, and I think it shows in my work. And I would hope that some of you would like to support my learning and my journey, and if you'd like to buy one of these paintings, you're more than welcome to do that to support me. I have an email below. You can email me. I think it's theinappropriateartist@gmail.com. Email me if you're interested in one of the paintings and you want to support me through a purchase of a painting. Or if you'd like to just make a contribution, you can do that through my PayPal. Or if you want to support me on a regular basis and help keep me full of supplies and keep me moving forward on my journey, you can do that through my Patreon account, which is also below in the description. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I hope you liked this little walk through my artwork and a visit through my process and through my progress. If you like the video, you can give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to my channel and you haven't already, you can do that below. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I put out a video. I do my best to put them out every Sunday and Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, of course. And I hope you join me on my channel. And thank you so much for all those who have been supporting me thus far, and for all of you who will join me on my journey. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the night, everybody, or rest of the day, or morning, or whatever it is for you when you're watching this. And we'll see you next time. Bye.